Shalom, shalom, and welcome. Welcome to White Robes family. My name is Symmanayah. Before I get started, it's a little housekeeping I need to do. Please read the content below or listen to the following before continuing. The information contained on this channel site are for individuals who believe they are drawn by the Almighty Creator Yahuah to Yahusha Mashyach as referenced by John 6:44 and John 12:32. The content addresses end-time realities and what must and will be done by those who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father in Yahusha's name. End times are here, and there are three things to accept that is promised by the Almighty Creator: discipline, vengeance, and wrath. Please be advised, this site is not intended for children under 16 years of age. By continuing forward, you agree to hold Symmanayah harmless of any influence in or actions that arise as a result of watching, listening, and reviewing the content presented. The views expressed do not reflect the owners or management of this media platform. White Robes family. Yashar'al. In this installment, as I stated, I would bring about information regarding the realities of what to expect during these end times. Yes, my brothers and sisters, there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of chatter, there's a lot of revealing of dreams of which have interpretations. Oftentimes, I rarely hear of anyone saying they would like to know if anyone received an interpretation or what did they receive from the sharing of their dreams. We have many people who have dreams and visions and they do their own interpretation. Sometimes they're wrong, believe it or not. But in this segment, my brothers and sisters, I want to bring your attention to the following. Like a scroll, I want to bring out more about the plan dealing with a scroll, my brothers and sisters. If you seek to do the will of the Almighty Father, I consider you my brother and my sister. End times will bring the realities of what must and will be done. There will be forced migration. Consider this, my brothers and sisters. Many people talk about leaving Mystery Babylon. Many people talk about the Promised Land. There's much said regarding a journey that will take place at some point in time. Are we the generation of end times? This is something to seriously consider. Do you believe that at some point there must and will be movement? Now, many of you might wonder, why do we say must and will happen? You see, my brothers and sisters, the scriptures will bring about proof. The things that are written in scriptures will come to pass, will be fulfilled. End time prophecies will be fulfilled. There's not a maybe. Well, if you listen to the Almighty One, there just might be a gathering. No. Well, if we act right, we'll come together in unity. No. Unity is promised, O set apart children of Yashar'al. Unity is promised, and the Almighty Father's plan will indeed be successful. He knows what it takes. And if you search the scriptures, oftentimes it's through cataclysmic conditions, such as extreme famine and pestilence, such as massive death, that causes one to lean their attention to the Most High. Look at what the scriptures talk about during end times. Look and search the scriptures, how it describes the great tribulation period. I say to you, are these not humbling times? And if you read Genesis, I believe it's the 49th, I may be mistaken, but in Genesis, it talks about a time in which man said, by us, opposed to dying. You see, my brothers and sisters, when famine and pestilence come, man is willing to sell their own services to he who leads them, or he who is in charge. If you search throughout the scriptures, extreme humbling times causes one to pause, causes one to become physically and mentally weak, spiritually weak in some cases. As extreme humbling times come, my brothers and sisters, we will find those who are growing in discerning the voice, the living voice of the Almighty Father sent in Yahusha's name, and we will begin to respond with accuracy. My brothers and sisters, like a scroll, this is more. I spoke on it early on a previous recording, and I want to say more. For there is a plan. And consider this, my brothers and sisters, there seems to be widespread attention to come out of her as from one person's perspective, as in, let's build community. What if, just what if you spend all your time building a community with the hopes of just living there and not talking about movement? And then when movement time comes, you've exhausted your resources, your finances, your energy. You've exhausted things. You've expended so much, and you don't have the wherewithal to make that transition as it relates to movement towards the promised land, as it relates to movement and being gathered from the four corners of the earth. Now, I do believe wholeheartedly that the Spirit of Yahusha is directing individuals to set up communities that will be safe havens until destruction comes. Yes, until physical destruction comes, until earthquakes or bombs or cataclysmic things happen or meteor showers come and destroy them all. There will be some children of Yahuah that will be in the midst of those who are not set apart. And when destruction, when vengeance and wrath come, we will be the last voice to echo the final words from the Almighty Father to those who are around. And there will be those who will die as martyrs for Yahusha's name. We must discuss the realities of what's ahead, my brothers and sisters. How to lean into the strength of set apartness and face physical death with the power and might of knowing that these earthen vessels will return to the dirt, but our spirit will forever be with the Almighty Father in everlasting life. We will realize, my brothers and sisters, movement come. So I'm saying when it comes to building communities, if you use an interpretation of come out of her as just come out of the cities and get away from the congestion, pray on these matters. Some are being ordered to do so and some are not. Some are being prepared to utilize their resources to begin migration. And I mentioned this before, that I believe those in the United States, those on the Western Hemisphere, will migrate towards the state, the Commonwealth of Virginia, in mass numbers before crossing the Atlantic Ocean, heading for the Promised Land, where I believe the central point will indeed be where the true Mount Sinai is. It's currently named Jabal al-Lawz. It is situated geographically in the northwest quadrant of what is now known as Saudi Arabia. And I believe, my brothers and sisters, more than just talking about reparations, Hebrews, Abrahym, along with Gentiles who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father, who have been chosen to be among the ranks of the 144,000 in great multitude, will receive all that is necessary to fulfill that journey. National and world leaders will soon recognize individuals who are led by the power and might of Yahuah through his Spirit sent in Yahusha's name, for we will echo the words that will bring about convincing, that will result in cataclysmic conditions far worse than what we seen during Mashyach when the plagues came to convince Pharaoh. Far worse. I believe soon we will see the two witnesses, my brothers and sisters, mentioned in Revelation's 11th chapter. And I believe they will be the final two shepherds for Yashar'al. There will be a final exodus before the physical return. There will not be something called a pre-trib rapture, my brothers and sisters. With that said, let us press forward. My brothers and sisters, it's important that we recognize that as forced migrations come, that we understand that the need to make your skills and talents known will be critical during these end times. In the plan that I am constructing, it is my desire to build a database, a listing of the talents and skills of each set-apart child that believe they are to be active participants in the preparation, in the support, in the transition of a set-apart awakening nation. Talents and skills, every talent, every skill is something that we receive by the favor of the Almighty Father. In this plan, not only listing talents and skills, I would build a list of resources and supplies that are necessary for our transition. Sure, there's a scripture say that don't worry about what you should take, my brothers and sisters, but let us not take one scripture and run with it, nor receive detailed instructions in building the ark and loading the ark in preparation for its journey. I submit to you, Yashar'al, forced migrations, forced movement will come. Resources and supplies will be needed. Some will be told to leave everything behind, and some will be told to take the resources and supplies that they have been granted. I say to you, my brothers and sisters, even when it comes to money or things of value, soon and very soon, time will prove the ultimate value will be in having food and fresh water and air, fresh air to breathe, and shelter. Money, jewels, fine emeralds, gold, silver, copper, all of that will soon come to naught. As people starve, they will be more concerned with food than wealth. So use the wealth that you have right now, O set-apart children. Use it as you believe you are directed for the supporting and the building up of the final exodus in or the fortifying specific communities that will indeed be places where some are ordered to shelter in place until such destruction time come, to echo messages to one another, to echo messages to those who are left behind. My brothers and sisters, we will identify transportation needs. Who has what in terms of vehicles and methods for transporting from one location to the next as forced movement begins. We will list best routes to take. We will identify the type of shelter that we will need from a temporary perspective, whether it be tents or the skill sets, whether it be cutting trees and building temporary shelters as we find intermittent movement. You see, being gathered from the four corners of the earth will not happen with us being beamed to the promised land, O Yashar'al. In this plan, my brothers and sisters, I will talk more in the future, but it is important right now to think about what are the transitioning strategies. You see, my brothers and sisters, some people can look for jobs and begin to move towards the mid-Atlantic. And as I stated, the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia. I want you to consider this, O Yashar'al, when I talk about forced movement. You see, it's because it's not a maybe, it's not a might. And I asked you once before, and I challenge you to do this. Begin putting an X on areas that you believe are uninhabitable. You see, the times are now to discern the signs and take heed to living instructions and warning. For unity comes, my brothers and sisters. Unity will come. Yashar'al. There are a lot of strong-willed leaders around, a lot of charismatic leaders. I believe that we will be surprised at who will end up rising up as the set-apart chosen leaders for Yashar'al. I believe egos will be bruised. There will be those purged, removed from the ranks of leadership. There'll be those who will cry and weep because they're going to say, I thought that person was really anointed. I thought that person was listening to the voice of the Almighty Father. I was deceived. You see, my brothers and sisters, there will be those who are in leadership who will face physical death, extreme sicknesses, and other conditions that will weaken them. In some cases, they won't even be able to execute their positions as leaders. But there will be some leaders, my brothers and sisters, that know how to yield to reproof, that know how to understand what it means to remember where they've fallen, that knows the dynamics of the blood of the Lamb, the atoning power of Yahusha Mashyach's blood. There will be those that understand what it is to die day by day. There will be those who will understand what it is to be renewed, for they will rise up in the strength of set apartness in the power and might of the Almighty Father in Yahusha's name. And some will remain leaders. And in some cases along the line, my brothers and sisters, it would be something akin to a passing of the baton. The group I lead here, I will lead them to a larger group and pass the baton to those who are there to lead. As I mentioned before, I believe the witnesses in Revelation chapter 11 will be the last two major shepherds for Yashar'al. But just as Mashyach and Aharon had the elders to help and support in the movement of Yashar'al coming out of captivity, so will we witness elders, counselors, leaders that will confirm and come together and support the movement of Yashar'al as it relates to the final Exodus. What say you? Have you read the verses that speak on this? I've mentioned them before. Under the banner of Yashar'al, we will witness the 144,000 carrying and representing each of the 12 tribes mentioned in Revelation 7 chapter. And a great multitude consisting of Hebrews or Abrahym and Gentiles together who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father, who are made one by Yahusha Mashyach. We will witness that emergence, and we are being prepared for the unity that is necessary. All these different positions of belief, all these different interpretations of Scripture will come to an end among those who will be brought together in unity as one. And as I stated before, race and nationality is important. Otherwise, how can we know that the Most High fulfilled bringing the Hebrew or the Abrahym and the Gentiles or the Goym, other nations together as one by Yahusha Mashyach? Otherwise, how can we identify 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Yashar'al? So race and nationality plays a part in these end times, but let us not stop there. The scriptures tell us about the inward man, my brothers and sisters, the inward man, the spirit. You see, our spirits live forever, and we who are set apart live forever with Yahusha Mashyach. And those that are wicked will face everlasting damnation. Those that are not a part of the set apart family of Yahuah. Like a scroll, my brothers and sisters, we are about to face the times that are required. Are you ready? Are you ready, O Yashar'al? Forced movement, forced migration. I say to you, it has begun and it will increase. End times will not wait for anyone. Proof comes, my brothers and sisters. Keep these key words in mind: belief, see, focus, hear, listen, time, who, what, why, where, how, when. Seek to discern, my brothers and sisters. The Most High have never asked us to do something that he did not equip us with the ability to accomplish. Take the challenge. I was getting ready to say this earlier. Look at the world, whether you're looking at a flat screen or a globe, and begin putting X's on areas that you believe are uninhabitable or are decaying or are falling apart or do not have the capacity to hold the world's population. If you begin to look and do your research, global warming and climate change is a big factor, but also the neglect and waste from man, polluting our environment. You see, though many of us have our heads in the sand, oh Yashar'al, radioactive waste from these nuclear plants have been buried in the oceans. And people think the ocean is so big that it can neutralize everything. Radioactive contaminants in the ground. Some have been placed in the ground in barrels where they're beginning to rust. Do your research, my brothers and sisters. Infrastructures are crumbling. As we look at the charade that is put on in this political arena, it reminds me of a situation where, Yashar'al, it reminds me of a situation where it is said that some leaders will create their own storm with a solution in mind already. In other words, I believe it is staged. Many of us are distracted by the politics in some way, shape, or form, or we know individuals who are unaware that our infrastructures are crumbling. There will be bridges that will collapse. There will be rail systems that will fall apart. There will be airplanes out of greed because of maintenance, and we even see that now, where brand new airplanes are causing massive deaths. I say to you, O Yashar'al, there's a big charade to take focus off what's real. And for the set apart children of Yahuah, it is time that we learn to keep our eyes straight, that we learn how to focus, that we know when to quit looking at history. History has its place, make no mistake. But are we consumed about all the history that took place? Are we not aware that the scriptures do not give us all the history? It gives us what the Most High had selected for the betterment of his children. But we must learn how to focus and move forward, O Yashar'al. I say again, like a scroll, forced movement will come. You know, the Mashyach talked about there will be those in your household that will betray you. It talks about those that will betray us and cause us to be led to our death for Yahusha's name. I'm not trying to bring fear of what man can do, my brothers and sisters, but it is important that we fear Yahuah, for that is where we find the beginning of knowledge. Search the scriptures. They bear witness to these words. Yashar'al, I have set up a cash app under White Roads family. If you are one who would like to contribute financially to support this plan that will evolve into the movement of a set-apart group beginning to come together. Black and white, Hebrews and Gentiles, Abrahym and Goym, who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father. Will there be some tares or some goats along the way? Sure. But make no mistake, my brothers and sisters, the Most High is not saying let's compromise ourselves and bring the tares and the goats that are obvious. The tares and goats that the scriptures talk about are those who begin to copy or mimic set-apart ways so good, so well, that they deceive even the elect. They deceive even the obedience. You see, my brothers and sisters, as the flesh war against the spirit, in order that scriptures be fulfilled, there will be some tares, there will be some goats. But I assure you, they will not be obviously wicked. What's getting ready to happen will remove all compromises as it relates to the name of Yahuah, as it relates to Yahuwah's name manifest in the person of Yahusha, as it relates to all the teachings that are written in the scriptures as they are made alive. There will be no room for compromise. And for those who say, well, let's just come together. We all love Yahuah. Let's leave doctrine behind. Doctrine is teaching, my brothers and sisters. The teachings is what builds and reinforces a set-apart nation. The teachings are what is passed down from generation to generation. Doctrine is critical. Let no one tell you any different. And watch, O Yashar'al, watch as extreme humbling times come. As you begin to put an X on habitable places, as you begin to see migrants moving, as you begin to see millions moving, we will then know that things are beginning to ramp up. For those of us in the Western Hemisphere, we are taking it for granted. But watch, at the words of the Almighty Father through his chosen ones, we will begin to see cataclysmic conditions that will come, and the words of his prophets will speak out, and they will come to be, and we will see what is necessary to humble his children and get those who are his to begin moving. There will be those as the first fruits who have begun movement already. Again, I say on the Western Hemisphere, the Commonwealth of Virginia is the place to be before transitioning across the Atlantic Ocean. I heard some people say, we keeping it a secret. We're not telling anybody. I heard an individual say, oh no, I'm not saying where you're supposed to go or where you're supposed to be, because everybody might start, it might just create chaos. My brothers and sisters, chaos is coming. Cataclysmic conditions is coming. If we wait till it happens, people will be stuck in traffic. People will be killed as others try to take your vehicle or your food or your resources. And those who are armored up with guns will run out of bullets at some point. Yeah, they'll take a lot of lives, but they'll run out of bullets. But here's something that many, even with weapons, haven't realized. Deuteronomy 8:3 says, man doesn't live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Almighty Father. So I say to you, if he takes your breath away, what can you do with a gun? If you become feeble-minded or full of fear and anxiety, if you have anxiety attacks, if disease causes your nervous system to function, how then can you accurately use a gun, a weapon? My brothers and sisters, I'm not saying don't have a gun. I believe it's okay to have a gun. But we're getting ready to see something phenomenal happen as the Most High gather his children. So those who say, I don't want to tell you because I don't want chaos, I'm telling you so you don't wait to massive congestion and try to get on the highway or catch a plane or a train and try to come to where there would be movement. Again, begin marking the X. To those who have eyes to see or ears to hear, we can formulate that the arrow for the Western Hemisphere has an exit point. And soon, proof will come that that exit point is the Commonwealth, the state of Virginia, for those in the Western Hemisphere. If you look at migrants in South America that's heading north, do your research. Many of them are heading towards the United States because of food. Food, more than anything, has caused movement. Pray and watch. Like a scroll, my brothers and sisters. Like a scroll. I say to you, O Yashar'al, there's more to come. Do you want to actively get involved with a plan that's being constructed? Now, no one will be able to buy themselves a position. Give as you believe you are led to give. Contribute as you believe you are led to contribute. And watch the formation of a set-apart nation come together, diverse, with many nations, kindreds, and tongues, who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father. Watch what happens. My brothers and sisters, this is a new channel. And I invite, I ask your help. I would like to build at minimum 100 subscribers in order to brand the channel, to make a link that would be more easier to navigate. Will you consider subscribing? Will you consider supporting movement towards the coming together of a set-apart awakening nation? I thank you for tuning in. You are listening to White Rose Family. My name is Symmanayah. And I say, my brothers and sisters, evidence is coming. It's coming. The time is now to come away from compromising groups and fellowships. The time is now to identify those who have a full glass of water. In other words, walking full of the Spirit. You see, I mentioned this before. If you looked at glasses of water and look and compared that to brothers and sisters who seem to be full of set-apartness, but if we begin to ask questions, vet, examine, if we seek to prove all things that are set apart, we will find that some glasses that appear to be full of water have pollutants, erroneous teachings, misconceptions, error. And if we pull that out, then the glass is not as full as we think. Find the one who is providing endless information and instructions as they are led by the Spirit of Yahusha, and you have identified one, if not more, of the set-apart mores, pastors, shepherds, councils, elders among Yashar'al, and spend time with those individuals, my brothers and sisters. Believe it or not, end times will make this happen. Until next time, O Yashar'al, be encouraged. Hold fast to all that is set apart and trust that the Most High will not give us anything to do without equipping us with the resources, supplies, the strength, the power, and fortitude. In the name of Yahusha Mashyach, I bid you, O set apart family, much shalom. Shalom.